about the third lecture. This is the small and large intestines. I don't know why, but this lecture, is it uploaded or not? It's not. I don't know. I asked about this. I don't know if this is the technical problem, but I think you have seen PowerPoint on Google Drive. I uploaded the Google Drive and I sent the yes, and I sent the video also, but I don't know why it's this problem. Anyway, so I think you know this part. You have the textbooks, all textbooks are uploaded also, and so you are. It's not there. What's not? Oh, how I can send the video to all the students? It's impossible. I'll ask again to the administration. Maybe was some problem, and I will send again this video. Anyway, maybe I'll show this, and we'll talk at first we'll talk maybe by PowerPoint, then I'll show the histology guide, and then we will repeat material, and I'll show some questions like which was in previous week. So I have to find it first, this part. Please wait, sorry. This is digestive tract. Okay. Ah, yes, I have to. Okay. So. Yes, someone is asking, I don't, have you any request sent me by? Yes, I know that you don't have on, maybe on, I don't know, if is it possible, I'll try more later, okay, I'll try. Yes, at first I want to show this. Okay. So I think now you can see this presentation, yes? So this is the third lecture is about the large intestines, and you can read, of course, and I'll try to upload the video also. Anyway, we'll repeat this part. About the major layers, I think you remember and you know this. And the small intestine, yes, we quickly repeat this material. So the small intestine, 3 parts, yes, duodenum, jejunum, and ileum, and we'll talk what are the most important things in each part. Starting, so about the layers, 4 these major layers are in small intestine. So the inner part, the mucosa, then is the submucosa, muscularis, and serosa. Yes, muscularis and serosa. So the inner part near the lumen. Near the lumen, of course, is the mucosa with 3 sublayers, epithelial lining, then lamina propria, and the muscularis mucosa. Yes, so the epithelial lining, which type of epithelium here? Again, this is the simple columnar epithelium, like which is in stomach. Yes, in stomach also simple columnar epithelium. In intestine also simple columnar epithelium. So the duodenum, jejunum, and ileum. Intestine, this is the part where really proceeds the active absorption. Yes, active absorption in small intestine, and so it means that the surface of small intestine is very large. And the small intestine also is the long structure, approximately 5 meters. So now about the specific structure of the small intestine. So what are here? If you remember, in stomach are folds. Yes, the small folds, the name of the rogae. In intestine, especially in small intestine, also are folds, circular folds. So you can see the circular folds. Yes, circular folds are here, and name of these folds, the plica circularis, and mucosa with submucosa. Yes, mucosa with submucosa form such folds, circular folds. Then epithelial lining with lamina propria forms another specific structure, and this structure, the villi. I think you also know this structure, the villi. Yes, epithelial lining with lamina propria, these structures. So villi, and then also the cells, simple columnar cells. Yes, these cells on the surface, they have additional specific, the protrusions, the microvilli. So these structures, the circular folds, then the villi, then microvilli, all these structures increase the surface. Threefold circular folds increase surface, then 10 folds the villi, then microvilli additional, and another 20 fold. So it means that the surface is large. Approximately the surface of the small intestine is 200 square meter. 200 square meters, so large structure. Starting to talk about the epithelial, yes, the lining. So the epithelial lining, simple columnar epithelium. Yes, simple columnar epithelium, two types of cells. So the cells, absorptive cells, enterocytes with microvilli, and the goblet cells, secreting cells, mucous secreting cells. So two different types. Yes, the cells, the goblet cells and the enterocytes, absorptive cells. This is the ultrastructure, the high magnification of the absorptive cell. You can see these microvilli which form brush border. Yes, the brush-like the structure, brush border, microvilli. So microvilli, here are the protrusion with actin filaments. Yes, with actin filaments. Here, intestinal villi, two different type of cells, the absorptive cells, and these are the goblet cells, secretory cells. Then, of course, here is lamina propria, which is connective tissue. It means here in lamina propria are fibroblasts, also are lymphocytes. Yes. Then, so I think you know, you have heard about such disease, celiac disease. So what's the celiac disease? If you is visible the normal and the damaged surface of the epithelial lining, so the damaged microvilli, yes, the microvilli and the normal microvilli. So what's the celiac disease? Celiac disease is a disorder of the small intestine mucosa that causes malabsorption and can lead to the damage or destruction of the villi. Yes, so damaged you can see. The cause of celiac disease an immune reaction against gluten or other proteins in wheat and certain other types of grain. The resulting inflammation affects the enterocytes, leading to the reduced nutrient absorption. So such people, if you know such people, they cannot eat any grain, any grain. Then, so yes, which are specific structures. So the villi, this is epithelial lining with lamina propria, especially the folds, these villi, especially well developed, are in jejunum. Yes, in middle part of the small intestine. So epithelial lining, simple columnar epithelium, then about the lamina propria and the epithelial lining, you know, so they form the villi. Then the next thin layer is the muscularis mucosa. So all these three sublayers, yes, they form the mucosa. Now the next this is mucosa. Now the next submucosa. So submucosa, this is connective tissue. Yes, connective tissue where are the many blood vessels, also nerve plexus. Yes, submucosal nerve plexus. And what is specific now in small intestine? If you remember, in submucosa, in esophagus are glands. Yes, not in stomach. In small intestine, also in submucosa are glands, but only in duodenum. This is duodenum, the submucosal glands, which is specific for this part of the small intestine. Yes, in duodenum are glands, the Brunner glands. Then, this, so they are villi, yes, they are the villi, and they are submucosal glands, like in esophagus. Again, I want to repeat these, not in jejunum, not in ileum, only these glands are in duodenum. Then, this is the transitional zone. So this part, the stomach, then starts the duodenum. But now I want to show the another part of the small intestine, jejunum. Yes, the jejunum, and I said the circular folds, especially well developed, are in jejunum. Yes, the circular folds. Mucosa with submucosa, circular the folds, plica circularis, and also you can see the numerous villi. Yes, epithelial lining with lamina propria. So, about mucosa, you know, about submucosa also. Then, but then muscularis. So the muscularis external to sublayers. Yes, the circular and longitudinal sublayers. Between these two sublayers is the nerve plexus, Auerbach or Minteric nerve plexus. The small intestine is covered by very thin serosa. Serosa, it means the connective tissue with mesothelium. Yes. So here you can see the enterocytes. Yes, enterocytes, because here are the numerous microvilli, and you can see also the goblet cells, mucus secreting cells. Again, the goblet cells, yes, the mucin granules, well-developed Golgi apparatus is here, the nucleus, so cup-like, something cup-like this structure, we have the goblet cells. So goblet cells are located between the enterocytes, the absorptive cells and the goblet cells. The goblet cells we can see here. Again, the enterocytes and goblet cells. Then, now I want to talk about the another structures of the small intestine, the epithelial. So the epithelial lining, you know, so they form here in epithelial lining are these two cells, but also in mucosa are glands. So not so long glands such are in stomach, but here also are glands. Mucous secreting cells are here, some enterocytes, and also are endocrine cells. Now, sorry, here. Yes, enteroendocrine cells. You can see the villi, and then at the end of these villi, at the openings of these villi are the glands. So in glands are endocrine cells. So in stomach, I think you remember in stomach also are endocrine cells, but these cells, I said at the time that these cells in stomach are closed type endocrine cells. So these cells don't have contact with lumen. But in small intestine, endocrine cells are open type endocrine cells. Look here, this cell. So the endocrine cell, because the granules are located opposite of the apical, and yes, these are the basal part of the cell, the nucleus. Here you can see the secretory vesicles, but this is apical part. This is the lumen. On the apical part, they have the chemoreceptors like the taste buds. So what are the taste buds? The small structures, yes, the sensory structures in oral cavity. I think you remember these taste buds. Like the taste buds, they have these small structures, the microvilli here, and the sensory structures. So the opposite of this part, here are located the granules. So in small intestine are enteroendocrine cells. For example, these endocrine cells secrete CCK. Do you know these? Cholecystokinin, yes, so which influence on the pancreas. Also, they secrete which influence the duct cells secretion. So all these endocrine cells are small intestines endocrine cells. And very interesting cells, and the cells which is very easy to find in histological preparations. So the Paneth cells. So in stomach, mucous in glands are in mucous secreting cells, endocrine cells, chief cells, yes, parietal cells are here. In small intestine are Paneth cells, these cells. So they are located more lower parts of the glands. These cells, the Paneth cells, and these cells contain very acidophilic large granules. Very acidophilic large granules. And what is the function of these cells? These cells are involved in immunity, in innate immunity, because they secrete the different proteins, and these proteins can break down the bacteria, microorganisms. Also, these cells are involved in innate immunity, Paneth cells. And of course, in glands are the stem cells, yes, stem cells, which give rise to other different type of cells. Okay, here the glands with Paneth cells. Yes, the granules are well visible in these cells. And so, again, 3 parts. Yes, duodenum, jejunum, and the next is the ileum. So the walls are the same for these 4 layers, but in duodenum specific are submucosal glands. In jejunum, well developed are the plica circularis, the numerous villi are here. So about, yes, these specific cells, the Paneth cells are here in glands. And now the next structure, and so the next part of the small intestine, this is ileum. So Ileum, these and the pair patches, I think you remember from last semester from immune system. So the pair patches are, are the pair patches? So they are the aggregation of lymphoid cells. So the aggregation of lymphoid cells, and these lymphatic tissues, the aggregations are only in ileum. And so for pair patches, specific cells are M cells. So M cells, they are large cells, and this basal part, the basal membrane of these cells form the M cells are specific cells for pair patches. Okay, so here you can see all these types of the small intestine. So the enterosa, it's absorptive cells, goblet cells, mucous secreting cells, enteroendocrine cells, so the open type endocrine cells, the Paneth cells, yes, the secretory cells, and of course the stem cells. So they are such structures are the villi, and they are the crypts. The crypts, the same, namely glands. Yes, mucosal the glands are the crypts here. Okay, so the villi again. So the villi, epithelial lining with lamina propria. It means the lamina propria contains the blood vessels. Yes, the blood vessels, the small blood vessels are here, and in the center of each villus is the lactea. So okay. What about now? Can you see Naomi? Yes, okay. So I think we can continue. Yes. Okay. So the from Paneth cells, I received such requests. Please say me from which part I have to about pair patches. So I have to continue from pair patches or from the next slides. Please send me your answer, okay? Okay. From M cells, yes, from M cells. Okay, from M cells. So, okay, so as I understand, I have to continue from the pairs patches. Yes, from the pairs patches. So the pair patches, they are the aggregation of lymphoid cells in ileum, only in ileum. Yes, on the third part, only in the third part of the small intestine. So the lymphoid cells aggregation in lamina propria. Yes, you can see these the pair patches here, and I said about these M cells. So M cells are specific cells for of the pair patches. So what are the M cells? They are large cells membrane of the basal membrane of these M cells form the pocket-like structures, and in these pockets are located the lymphocytes. And so like this, yes, the M cells and the here are the lymphocytes located. So the M cells, specific cells of the pair patches. And I showed all these different type of cells of the small intestines. And first, so the structure, the vellus, yes, and these are the glands. The name of this, the crypts. Yes, the crypts. And here are located absorptive cells and the goblet cells. Here, absorptive cells, the goblet cells, and also are the specific cells, the Paneth cells. Absorptive cells, simple columnar epithelium lines, yes, the inner part of the small intestine, absorptive cells, the columnar cells, the goblet cells, then enteroendocrine cells, yes, open type endocrine cells, because you can see here the granules are on basal part, and on the apical surface of these cells are the sensory microvilli, and they have contact with the lumen. But so the secretion of these active substances is opposite of the apical part, yes, to the another direction. Then the Paneth cells, they are really secretory cells, the Paneth cells, and the very large acidophilic granules are located, and they secrete the active substances. They are involved, these cells, in innate immunity, and of course are the intestinal stem cells. And additional, the M cells, which are specific, these cells of the ileum. Then, so this, yes, the villi. So the villi, epithelia lining with lamina propria. Lamina propria with blood vessels, small blood vessels, of course, are here. And in the center are of each villi are lymphatic vessels, lymphatic capillary, and the name of this lacteal. So this is lacteal. And also, you can see the smooth muscle. If you remember, in lamina propria also are located the smooth muscles. So these smooth muscles, this is the muscularis mucosa. From this, the projections are to the villi, and smooth muscles also are into the lamina propria. So we can compare, yes, the three parts of the small intestine. This is the duodenum, this is the jejunum, and this is ileum. Yes, so how we can guess that this is the jejunum? Submucosal glands, yes, are here. So this is the jejunum. No submucosal glands, numerous. The folds are here, and the glands, you can see mucosal glands. Yes, mucosal glands. Mucosal glands also are here, but additional glands are. submucosal. And this is the ileum. So not so well developed the plica circularis are here, no such the numerous the villi, but here are lymphatic aggregations. You have the pair patches. I think this part is clear. Now about the large intestine. Yes, the large intestine. So the parts of the large intestine. Yes, the large intestine is of course not so long structure is, but is more thick. And the parts, the cecum, then is the colon, and then is the rectum here. So 4 layers again are here. The epithelial lining, again here is the simple columnar epithelium. So what are the specific here? Specific here in the large intestine are the sac-like the structures. Yes, here these structures, the name of this the haustra, the sac-like the structures, and so the simple columnar epithelium, then again lamina propria, muscularis mucosa, then is the submucosa, then the muscularis. But here the muscularis externa is more specific. Why more specific? Because here I'll show. At first I said, then I'll show this. Here the circular and the longitudinal again, but here is the 3 bands, specific bands, and these tenia. Here is the tenia coli. These are 3 different bands of the muscle cells, and they're covered by thin serosa. Now I want to show the wall of the large intestine, not that the circular the folds, the not such the villi. So what is the function of the large intestines? Yes, proceeds any absorption or not? Yes, he also proceeds absorption, but only the water and electrolytes. Yes, and so the epithelial lining you can see here, then are the glands. Intestinal glands are, the mucosal glands are in large intestine. So the cell types, the absorptive cells are here, not such with the brush border, but absorptive cells also are here. The name of the cells, the colonocytes, and the goblet cells. So, but more numerous are goblet cells in large intestines compared to the small intestine. Yes, here the many. So the function, yes, they secrete the mucus, and which covers the epithelial lining, something for this is the covering the against the any damages this layer is. Then so the submucosa you can see, and then is the muscularis, and I said the more specific is the muscularis, the circular layer, and the longitudinal layer, which forms 3 bands here, the tenia coli and thin serosa. This the mucosa is here with columnar absorptive cells and the many goblet cells. Then submucosa, you can see the more thinner is submucosa compared to the small intestine, but thicker is muscularis. And this what's the hemorrhoids. So this is the swollen blood vessels in the mucosa or submucosa of the anal canal can cause a painful disorder called hemorrhoids. This common condition typically results from a low fiber diet, constipation, prolonged sitting, or straining at defecation, and conditions that produce increased pressure. So the reason of this is the pressure on the blood vessels. So the again, mucosa, then submucosa, the muscularis. So this is the cross section. The lumen, around the lumen are the glands, mucosal glands. So mucosa, then is the submucosa, and the muscularis. Yes, the muscularis externa, the circular longitudinal layer, and I want to show between these layers the nerve plexus, myenteric nerve plexus. I think this is visible. Yes, myenteric nerve plexus is here. Then colonocytes. Yes, the colonocytes, not without the cells are the brush border, but a few microvilli also is visible. Why? Because these cells also are involved in absorption of the water, and these cells are water absorptive, yes, cells, and you can see the spaces here inside the cytoplasm of these cells. So this feature is specific for liquids, the fluid absorptive cells, as these spaces are visible here. And this part, this is the transitional zone from the margin to the anus. So the mucosa of the rectoanal junction is here. Simple columnar epithelium and more external part into the anus is again the stratified squamous epithelium. And this is the cross section of the rectum. So the folds are in small intestine, not in large intestine, the such folds, but only this region. This is the rectum region. In rectum, we also can see folds here. This is again the rectoanal junction, the simple columnar epithelium, then stars, the stratified squamous epithelium, and also you can see here. This is the sphincter. Sphincter is formed by muscle cells. And in this region are numerous the glands, sebaceous glands, for example, are sebaceous glands. So this part, yes, the more the distal the parts, because here is the stratified squamous epithelium, and this is the, I think this is the large this slide. So we can compare stomach, small and large intestine. Yes, the stomach with pits, small intestine which plica circularis, and the large intestine. Yes, in large intestine are only so the invaginations of the epithelial lining. So the glands, mucosal glands. So tubular long glands in stomach. Creates the glands also are in small intestine, not such the long glands, but in large intestine also are such the long tubular glands. Then submucosa, yes, the submucosa, more submucosa is more thinner in large intestine, but then three different, so the parts of the digestive tract, yes, compare so the muscularis, external, so muscularis external in stomach, thick because three sublayers are here. So the additional is the oblique sublayer, two sublayers in small intestine, again two sublayers, but specific Taenia coli is in large intestine, and thin serosa covers all these parts. So this blood vessels and the lymphatic, the lacteal in villi, in small intestine, you remember, and also the mucosa-associated lymphatic tissues in all these parts you can find. So this is the table with major features, and so this was the third lecture. Okay, so have you any questions about this? I think no questions I am receiving. And so I wanted today to show the histology guide. And okay. Yes, I have received such questions about the micrographs. Yes. So all micrographs, oh, sorry. All micrographs which will be in the midterm will be uploaded on Google Drive, and I'll show all these micrographs. And so the topics about the topics and topics also will be uploaded. You can find in Google Drive the topics. So digestive system, I think you know, yes, about the topics. This is the first 5 lectures, digestive system. Okay, so these 3 parts, I think you know. Then the Brunner's gland, so it means this is the duodenum, submucosal glands. Then I'll show the ileum, hair patches. Yes, these are the hair patches, lymphatic tissue. Then I also want to show you the cells. I want to show, yes, here, the Paneth cells. So the crypts, what are crypts? Crypts are intestinal glands. Yes, intestinal glands at the base of the villi, and the well-developed are these glands in the jejunum. And I want to show the Paneth cells, which are very easy to find. Yes, the glands, cross-section of the glands, and you can see here, these cells are Paneth cells. Very acidophilic granules are here, and very easy is to find the Paneth cells at the basal parts of these glands. So look here again, these parts. Yes, the numerals, the villi are here, then starts the glands, and at the basal part of the glands are located these Paneth cells. Yes, the Paneth cells. Then starts the submucosa. So this is the jejunum. And now I only want to show the colon. Then we have break, 10 minutes. Okay, the colon. So this is the large intestine. Oh, not this part. Oh, not. Sorry, I want to show the another. More visible are muscles here. So this part, yes, this is the large intestine, so the epithelial lining, everything is visible. Only I want to show the muscularis externa. Yes, the muscularis externa, and I said here is specific, the inner, the circular layer, and the outer is longitudinal layer with 3 distinct bundles are here. For example, the first, then I'll show the, so the another one, and then the third. Yes, the third. So the name, the Tinea coli, all this. Okay, and then the appendix also is the part of the large intestine here. And so appendix. This is the lymphoid tissue. Yes, lymphoid tissue, and you can see all these parts. Yes, the lymphoid tissue. This is secondary lymphatic organ. So, what does it mean? The secondary lymphatic organ. Hair patches also are the part of the secondary lymphatic organ. So the secondary lymphatic organ are the primary lymphatic organs where proceeds the formation of the lymphocytes, and we know, yes, the T and B lymphocytes, then proceeds the activation of these cells, and the activation of these cells proceeds in secondary lymphatic organs, and the appendix is one of the major such lymphatic organ. So hair patches also are the lymphatic organs, secondary lymphatic organs. Okay, you can see the numerals. Yes, the lymphatic nodules. This is the cross section of appendix. So do you want break? 10 minutes? Yes, no. Yes. Okay, 10 minutes, then yes and no, yes and no, what does it mean? Okay, yes, 10 minutes, then at 4 p.m. we will, yes, 10 minutes, 4 p.m., 4 o'clock, we will start, and I'll show the questions, and you have to answer on this question like which was in the previous week, okay? No, you have anatomy lecture now at 5 o'clock. At 6, okay. Anyway, so 10 minutes.